Teach you 7 stylish ways to ask, how are you? Now, my inspiration for doing this lesson is I've heard many learners of English saying, how are you, every time they meet someone. The other person will say, fine, thank you, how are you? And then this will repeat the next time with the next person and over again. So today I want to show you 7 interesting expressions to ask, how are you? I will first show you some semi-formal expressions. Now, these are all expressions that you can use in both formal and informal situations. And then I will show you some purely informal expressions that you can use with your friends. All right, the first expression is, how are you doing? This is just like asking, how are you? Except it has the word doing over here. Now, when we say, how are you, it can sound formal. So this expression makes it a little more friendly. How are you doing? And it's a multi-purpose expression, meaning that you can use this with just about anybody that you want. Now, when someone asks you this question, how are you doing? You can just say, good, thanks, or fine, thanks, or even great, thanks. And then you can ask, what about you? So that's the expression, how are you doing? The next expression is slightly different. It's, how are things going? Now, I have put parentheses around going because that word is optional. If you want, you can say it or you can leave it out. So you can say, how are things? Or, how are things going? Now, the focus in this expression is a little bit more on the other person's life and what's happening in their life. But remember, we're not trying to ask for details. We are just using it as a general greeting. The other person could just say, good, thanks, or fine, thanks. But this question gives the other person the option to give more details if they want. So if you ask me, how are things going? I could say, oh, things are going great. In fact, I just got a new job. And you could ask me, oh, really? What kind of job? And the conversation can develop from there. So the expression is, how are things, or how are things going? The next 2 expressions are for when you meet someone after a long time. The first is, how have you been? Now, this is like asking, how are you, except it focuses on the time period when you did not see the other person. For example, let's say you meet someone after 3 or 4 months, and you ask that person, how have you been? What you are asking is, how have you been in these 3 or 4 months? Because you did not see that person during that time. And this is very common when 2 people meet after a long time. A similar expression is, what have you been up to? Up to means to do something. So when you ask, what have you been up to? You are asking, what have you been doing during this time when we did not meet? Now, it's important that you use this expression with people that you know well. Now, if you don't know a person very well and you ask them, hey, what have you been up to? It can sound like you're asking too many details. So use this with someone that you know well. And if you meet a person after a long time and you know them well, when you ask this, they can tell you about all the interesting things that they've been doing, and it can be a great conversation starter. All right, so that's our semi-formal expressions. Let's now move on and look at the informal expressions. The first one is, how's it going? How's it going? This is like asking, how are things going? Except this is the really informal version. Now, if you're going to use this, there is one important rule. If you're going to say it with style. What do I mean by that? Well, we pronounce this as, how's it going? Do not say, how is it going? That doesn't sound so good. because this is supposed to be a friendly expression and it's supposed to be stylish. So when you say it, it will sound like you're saying, how's it? Practice saying that. How's it? How's it going? How's it going? It can sound very stylish. So use that next time with your friends. But of course, remember that these are all informal, so don't use it with your boss or with your teachers. Okay, the next expression is what's up. And this is, I'm sure you've heard this expression a lot. If you look at it carefully, what's interesting about this is it has no meaning really. Like, what's up? What's up is the ceiling. So what does this expression mean? Well, it's just used as a general greeting. So when someone asks us, what's up? We commonly say, oh, nothing much. What's up with you? That's very common. Nothing much. What's up with you? All right, our last expression is what's cooking. Now this is a very, very informal expression. It's almost slang. Now cooking is a slang way of saying happening. So when you ask someone what's cooking, you're asking them what's happening, what's interesting in your life. But remember to only use this with your friends or your classmates or your co-workers. Please don't go into your boss's office and say, hey boss, what's cooking? That would look very, very strange. All right, so that's our informal expressions. Let's do a quick recap of all the expressions we've learned in this lesson. Our semi-formal expressions are, how are you doing? How are things? Or how are things going? The next two are for when you meet someone after a long time. How have you been? And what have you been up to? And our informal expressions are, how's it going? What's up? And what's cooking? All right, I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Remember to subscribe to this channel, and I will see you in another lesson soon.